had this genocide apologist named Natasha Hausdorff on his show. Natasha Hausdorff is a lawyer that represents the genocidal nation of Israel. Here's what this evil cunt looks like. There she is. Let me turn off chat so I can really show you her face, and you can make a mental image of it. There she is. And she's on here. Piers Morgan has done a full 180 over the past, I don't know, 2 months, where he can't do it anymore. He can no longer defend Israel. I mean, Israel slaughters babies in mass. Israel is the nation that most resembles Nazi Germany on planet Earth. Israel is an apartheid state with a genocidal maniac by the name of Benjamin Netanyahu, who has an ICC warrant for his arrest because he's a war criminal and he's committing a genocide. Well, this evil Satan spawn of a woman has decided to take it upon herself to defend every last action of Israel. And I've been watching this, and she's claimed that every single statistic that has ever come out of Palestine is false. Every single one. And you're going to watch her claim that this doctor in Gaza, this woman who had 9 children, and her 9 children were blown up and killed, she's going to claim that that woman is lying. Now, mind you, this doctor, one of her own fucking children was brought into the hospital where she performed surgery on her own child to try and save its life. She failed because Israel's bombs are extremely fucking deadly. And we're just going to watch this. So before we do, let me remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. And also, you should help the channel financially if you support me, because I have no funding. And you could become a patron, you could become a member, you could buy some merch, you could donate to the channel, and you can use a 40% off discount code on Ground News. We are at 66,000 subs, and I'm trying to hit 100,000. I want that YouTube play thing, that play button up on the wall behind me, so make sure you do everything that you got to do. Anyway, let's watch this. Trigger warning, genocide deniers.
Because you make it sound like everyone's either stupid, deluded, or politically motivated.
Within Israel, there is the most vibrant political debate and criticism that you will see anywhere.
Oh, yeah, because Israel is just the perfect nation. It's the best nation.
Out are the lies and the falsehoods and the blood libels that are being propagated.
Yeah, blood libel. They've been throwing this word around. So Israel claims that anybody who accuses Israel of committing genocide is actually committing blood libel, and they're a complete anti-Semite, and they should be sued for defamation. Isn't that something?
And
I was told by the ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this war.
No, I don't believe that was the case.
Yeah,
I think it was to do with targeting children.
No.
And there is a difference.
Right.
Because we are hearing that Israel is targeting children, and that...
They are. Let me explain one thing real quick. Israeli snipers are the best snipers on planet Earth. We have also heard every single doctor in Gaza come out and say they have never seen so many children double tapped. Oh, what is double tapping, Chris, you may ask? Well, double tapping is when you shoot your enemy once and then you shoot them again to ensure that they're dead. And what we've been seeing, and every doctor in Gaza has reported, is that the children, the little children, are getting shot through the fucking head and then again in the heart by the best snipers on planet Earth. And don't forget that the Israeli snipers used to wear shirts that had a sniper's scope aiming at a pregnant woman, and it said, 1 shot, 2 kills. Listen, I'll say this again. The IDF is the most evil military on planet Earth, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu is the modern version of Adolf Hitler, and Israel is the modern version of Nazi Germany.
couldn't be further from
Well,
the
last
fact,
week,
because
9 out of 10 children in one home where 2 doctors reside were killed in an airstrike.
Well,
was that? What was that?
Remarkable.
Well, what was that?
That has been based only on the basis of hearsay.
You don't
and
believe that
secondhand
story?
Information. I want these stories.
Wait a minute. You don't believe that those children were killed?
I have seen conflicting accounts, and I want that story to be properly investigated before the international media runs with it. I have.
You think those 2 parents, one of whom I think operated on one of the children?
I have a question.
You think that those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up?
Why are they?
So this evil cunt who will roast in hell is now going to claim that a doctor whose 9 children were blown to smithereens, and then she tried desperately to save the life of her last living child, that she's actually a dirty little liar and she's just promoting Hamas propaganda. Because, of course, anything and every statistic that comes out of Palestine must be Hamas propaganda, right? Right?
9 of their 10 children had been blown to pieces by an Israeli airstrike.
What did she just say?
Those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up.
Why are
that
those
9 of their 10 children.
Why are those children there? So when a foreign adversary invades the United States and they bomb your house and blow up your children, I'm just going to ask, why were your kids there? Fucking subhumans.
Children had been blown to pieces by an Israeli
Thank you for the
airstrike.
$5 donation, but you don't understand killing kids is bad. Yep.
If this is true...
You don't believe it?
Well, why on earth was artificially generated imagery used to promote this story when it first happened?
I got to say, Natasha, I think what you've just said about that family is despicable.
We've seen time
I'm
and
sorry,
time
Yeah,
it's despicable.
Blood libel?
Somebody, you talk about blood libel, like Dave said. You talk about blood libel. You talk about lies.
All I said,
you talk about promoting
was that there were
propaganda.
conflicting
And here you
accounts.
sit here as a lawyer and you say that you do not believe those 9 children were killed.
I didn't say that. You're putting
You
words
did?
in my mouth.
No, you did say that, and now you're immediately retracting it because your own morals are directly antithetical to your job. Your job is to defend every last action Israel takes. And Israel is killing a lot of kids, Natasha. So why don't you get on your knees like a good girl and lap up the puddle that Benjamin Netanyahu has spilled on the floor for you? Fucking dispel more Israeli Hasbra, you useless cunt.
Do you believe it or not?
I said that there were conflicting
Do you
accounts
believe it?
and it needs to be
Do
investigated.
you believe it?
I thought you would be the
The parents
first
said
person
9 of their
that
10
wants-
children were killed.
They
Do you
haven't-
believe them
they
or not?
haven't- they
Or
haven't
did those
said
2
that
doctors make it up?
They haven't said that directly as far as I have seen. I have seen second-hand accounts and hearsay, but it's important to ask, why are these civilians still there? Why is it that
Actually, no, it's
uniquely-
important to ask whether you-
Maybe because there's nowhere for them to fucking go? Oh, I don't know, maybe it's because it's their ancestral home? Maybe because Israel bombs them every time they step out of the fucking zones that have been designated as, quote, safe zones? I'm gonna fucking crash out.
Believe that family have lost 9 of their 10 children.
I want to know why the international
You don't, do
community...
you? You don't. And this goes to the point that I would say about Israel
Why are
generally
these
now, in this war now.
Palestinian
Israel says they don't believe anything.
Coming out of Hamas,
every
indeed.
story that comes out about the deaths of civilians in Gaza,
Because there is a
someone
track
will
record
pop
of
up
lies.
representing the Israeli government saying, it's propaganda, it's not true, I've heard it's not right, I've heard it didn't happen. And the reason you can get away with it, frankly, is because you won't allow, the Israeli government won't allow, I don't want to keep putting you in the government, but you defend them. The Israeli government refuses to allow international journalists to get in there and do their job and verify whether any of these things are actually happening.
I have been
when
there.
you say they didn't happen.
I can help you with why. I've been there in September and seen a great deal of
You've
the Hamas...
been there? Bitch, you went on a fucking sanitized tour funded by the IDF. Just like every other fucking journalist they allow in there. Because, guys, I don't know if you know this, Israel does not allow any foreign journalists to cover this conflict. Not fucking one. The only people who are allowed to cover it are put through this specific route where they won't see any fucking dead kids or dead women or dead civilians. All they're shown is just like, well, here's an example of a hospital that the Hamas was hiding underneath. Like, oh my God.
terror infrastructure with my own eyes, including the fact that when we were in Rafah, every second building was being used
Did you see any dead
by
children?
Hamas. No, and this is the important factor.
Why do you think that?
Our movements...
Is that because there
very-
aren't any,
No.
or because you were being given a sanitized little tour,
No, we were
which
being-
didn't involve seeing the bodies of dead children?
We were very restricted because of the nature of the battlefield in
What
in
right does the
Gaza.
IDF have
She's
to
actually so
restrict
stupid. No, she's not stupid. This woman is incredibly smart. She's Israel's lawyer. She's not stupid. She's evil. There is a very big difference between somebody doing this out of ignorance and somebody doing this out of malice. This woman is an evil woman. She will burn in hell. She's not making it into the pearly gates. Her fucking job is to defend modern Hitler. Her job is to defend a genocide. She's not stupid. She is subhuman.
Journalists doing their job. In every other war I've ever been involved in, including sending my Daily Mirror journalists to cover the Iraq war in Baghdad, where they rang me at midnight to ask if they should leave or stay in a hotel, the Baghdad Hilton, I think it was called, before shock and awe arrived. So huge responsibility on my shoulders then about the lives of my journalists, but they were prepared to risk them to report the truth to the wider world. Israel has decided no journalists from outside can go in.
For 3 reasons.
And make that assessment themselves.
For 3 reasons. What? 1, they'll tell the truth. 2, they'll tell the truth. 3, they'll tell the fucking truth.
What right does Israel have to do that?
For 3 reasons. Will you allow me to finish?
Well, there are no reasons.
Well, you've
It's
just
none of your business whether the journalists view their safety as being at risk.
I'm sorry, you haven't heard the reasons yet. The first, of course, is the safety of the journalists, and I appreciate you don't accept that.
Safety of the journalists? Bitch, have you ever seen Generation Kill? We don't give a fuck. We're Americans. We give journalists a fucking Glock, and we send them into Kandahar with the Marines and said, good luck, bro. Do you know what the fuck you're talking about? What the fuck? Dude, Americans don't give a shit. An American journalist will literally... We interviewed Bin Laden. Brother. Oh my God, I have to pull this up. Journalist interviews Bin Laden in the fucking 90s, bro. Give me the video.
The NYPD
comes across the field, and we
Is this it?
bench covered in red fabric and put a blanket kind of over his knee. It was like sitting at story time with an old uncle.
But there was a problem.
This is an American journalist sitting in a fucking cave with Osama bin Laden. And you think, oh, it's for the safety of the journalists. Let the fucking journalists make that decision.
Bin Laden's handlers wouldn't allow anyone to translate the Sheikh's answers. Miller didn't know what Bin Laden...
I mean, what the fuck are we talking about?
The second is the safety...
The idea you're doing is that some quaint...
Koof just said CNN, of course. Lame-o.
That was reason number one.
Are you claiming that interview that happened in the 1990s isn't real? Koofs, are you saying that interview didn't happen? Are you dead ass? Are you dead ass right now, bro? For real, are you dead ass?
Reason number 2 is the
These better get better.
Is the ability of IDF soldiers to be able to conduct this war against Hamas without...
without the journalists getting in the way?
No, without...
They've actually, by the way, they've killed more journalists in Palestinian journalists than in any war
Hamas members
in modern
wearing
history.
press vests are not journalists. And reason number 3...
So Hamas members wearing press vests are not journalists. You heard it right there. You heard it right there. Anybody who is brown-skinned and wearing a press vest will be targeted. They are Hamas. That's what this fucking woman just said.
None of them are journalists.
And reason number 3...
So just to be clear, none of the Palestinian journalists who've been killed are actually journalists.
I said Hamas members...
Oh, they're all
and you're claiming... Yes, exactly. You dumb, evil cunt that will roast in hell. You're claiming that every single Palestinian journalist is Hamas.
Palestinianism, those that are... And
every single dead Palestinian journalist is a member of Hamas. Is that your position?
No, listen, I appreciate Piers.
That is also bullshit.
But misrepresenting... misrepresenting every
So that's 2 out of 2. What's the third reason?
Our mutual friend Douglas Murray was embedded with the IDF in Lebanon.
You said the words yourself. I love Douglas, but he was embedded with the IDF.
Right.
He's unbelievably pro-Israel.
Let me finish.
So of course he was going to write what he witnessed while embedded with the IDF.
No, let me finish what his experiences there were. The difference
Oh,
is that
really? You have to tell me.
there is something I think that you won't have heard. The IDF are able to allow journalists into Lebanon. He wasn't the only one. There were many other international
There have been a
journalists with him.
tiny... No.
Those other international journalists with him were very clear.
There have been a tiny
beg your
handful of journalists led in by the IDF in tightly controlled environments to witness...
You said Piers Morgan is a lib. If you think Piers Morgan is a liberal, then I have a bridge to sell you.
What the IDF were prepared to let them see.
And you know what those
And actually, what it needs
said?
this war to stop the bullshit, which is out of control, by the way, in this last 3 minutes, is to let international journalists go in and do their jobs. And they will worry with their networks or organizations about their safety, but they should be allowed to do their jobs. And there's only one reason why the Israeli government doesn't want international journalists crawling all over Gaza. It's because they do not want them reporting what they will find.
Reason number
which, by the way, will include the bodies of thousands of children who you, on the Israeli side, are not counting as you count the terrorists you kill, but who journalists would.
Reason number 3 is that those journalists that were in Lebanon said that they had to be very careful about what they reported because of what Hezbollah would do to their colleagues in Beirut. The fact that international journalists...
Hezbollah? You mean Hezbollah? Hezbollah? You're a fucking lawyer for Israel and you don't know how to pronounce Hezbollah?
Journalists have sunk to this level that they would allow their reportage to be controlled by terrorist organizations, Iranian proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah included, is despicable. That is the real issue here that has driven
Actually,
the
it's not.
international
The real
community.
issue
Of course
is
it is.
Israel,
this is terrorist organizations
real
propaganda.
Quick,
Actually, it's
one of my
not.
dedicated hate watchers, Koofs, is saying, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. Go Trump! Koofs, do you know that song is about gay sex? That's not even opinionated. That song is about fucking dudes up the ass at the YMCA. That is what that song is about.
Let me bring David.
And the fact that you will not allow me to answer a single question.
You know what?
here
You've made
will
all
be
your
perfectly
points, and they
evident to your
all, I'm
viewers.
afraid,
I
Natasha,
haven't. I certainly
turned out
haven't
to be
made all my
bullshit.
points.
So let me bring in Dave. Dave, look, I don't like to keep saying the word bullshit, but when you hear a lot of bullshit, you have to call it for what it is, bullshit. And the truth is, particularly on the journalist front, there is a very simple way that all this fog of war confusion could be resolved, and that is to let the journalists in. And there's a very simple reason why they're not.
Because the journalists will find all of the dead babies.
They don't want the journalists to report to the world what is actually going on. Otherwise, they'd let them in.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I understand, Natasha, that you're upset that Piers isn't letting you finish your thought, but the idea that the number one reason you gave is that what Israel just values the sanctity of life so much that they're so worried about these journalists. It's
Real quick, Koofs, it's just a song, who cares? Don't you find it ironic that Donald Trump's favorite song is one about dudes fucking each other up the ass while he does a double dick stroke as his favorite fucking dance? It's fun to stay in the YMCA. That's literally what Trump does. That's his favorite fucking dance.
So ridiculous.
Actually,
it doesn't pass the
offensive,
basic smell
honestly,
test. It's offensive to think that level, you talk about propaganda being spread. That is just pure propaganda. It is obvious. It is obviously the reason Israel
who's going to be
doesn't
blamed? Sorry, Natasha just said, who will be blamed for the journalist deaths? A recognition that yet more journalists would be killed, because I think it's well over 100 Palestinians who you think are all Hamas members. But you know what? It's not your job to worry about the safety of international journalists. They've all been to many, many war zones.
That's
whether it's Clarissa Ward at CNN, Jeremy Bowen at BBC. I know a lot of these people myself. You let the journalists do their job, and you do yours,
by the way,
and the IDF can do theirs.
They don't seem to have this concern about being blamed for slaughtering the children of Gaza.
They don't admit they're killing
them to stop that. Right. As every time you hear, it's either, this is propaganda. This is Hamas propaganda. Those kids weren't intentionally killed. All this stuff. But look, like we said at the beginning, it doesn't meet the basic smell test, the basic human.
Also, let me just say one thing. I don't care if you're intentionally killing kids. You're still killing kids. If you're doing it intentionally, that's far worse. But it's not an excuse if you're still killing kids. Not a valid excuse.
Test. If you're telling me, as you said, Natasha, that Hamas has locked up all of the aid that's gotten in there, so who are you targeting when you don't let further aid in? It's the civilian population who's not getting it. Now, you could sit here and say Israel isn't targeting them, meaning I blow up a building that I know has little children in it, but I'm claiming I'm targeting the bad guy.
Exactly.
But you know that in effect, your action is going to, in effect, destroy the civilian population. I'm sorry, this is a distinction without a difference. And I don't care about your appeal to international law. Look, I'm Lysander Spooner on this issue of international law. I think either international law allows what Israel is doing to Gaza, or it's been powerless to stop it. So either way, it has not been effective enough. By the way, it does seem like it's the latter, not the former, seeing as how there is, criminal warrants out for Netanyahu for committing war crimes. But regardless of that, the bottom line here is that Israel is doing this to the civilian population of Gaza, and nobody who's being honest doesn't believe that the only reason Israel won't let journalists in there is because they don't want the world to see what they're doing to these people. Period. That's the reason, and everybody, including you, knows it. The problem here is that you're not allowed to tell the truth. You're Israel's lawyer, and you got to defend them no matter what. Natasha, does Israel have nuclear weapons?
Sorry, I'm an independent
Does Israel
member
nuclear
of
weapons?
the English bar.
That's a good
I'm not
question.
instructed.
Yes or no?
I'm
Yes
not
or no, Natasha?
instructed.
Do they have
Does
nuclear
Israel have
weapons?
nuclear weapons, Natasha?
Why do you think I would know any better than you, Piers?
Holy fuck, she can't answer. He just got her so fucking good. Yes, Israel has nuclear weapons. This is well known.
What's the name of your company?
You do know. You
What's the
are
name of your
not telling the
organization?
truth, and so you won't say it. But
well,
by the way,
hang on.
here, Piers. Well,
Yeah.
let me just say, it's disqualifying to this conversation. You're playing a different game than me and Piers are.
Yep.
We are having a conversation about what's actually going on.
And
You're
your job is to lie.
a lawyer who's not allowed to incriminate your client, which is Israel, because
Let
you
me
know
be
the answer the same way
perfectly
Piers knows
clear.
it, the same way I know it. Do they have nukes?
Let me be perfectly clear.
Do they
I
have
am
nukes?
not in the employ of anyone associated.
What's the name
with
of your
the State Israel.
organisation?
UK Lawyers for Israel began as a voluntary association of lawyers looking for the proper application of law to Israel, Israelis, and combating anti-Semitism. It is
Do they
truly
have nuclear
remarkable. We are
weapons,
having
though?
a different conversation.
$5
This is a circus, and I am actually seeking to
Can't answer,
address
Piers.
practical questions, and including the disgusting situation that we are now left with, where the international community has said that Palestinian civilians must uniquely be kept in a war zone, may not be permitted to leave. That is what I am hearing being advocated for consistently, so that they can be continued to be used not just as human shields by Hamas, but as human sacrifices, dragging this conflict out. The tragedy of this misinformation and this propaganda is not just that Jews are being gunned down and burned in the street. It is also that Palestinian civilians are continuing to suffer as a result of this war, but also of Hamas suppression, repression, torture, and the stealing of aid, which has been well documented.
No, it hasn't.
The fact that people like the two of you will continue to put out this false information, to perpetuate this conflict, to perpetuate
You're the only one
Palestinian
putting out false
suffering
information
is
here.
truly disgusting. What have I said that's false?
I didn't think anyone could be more disingenuous than the UK ambassador. I got to say, Natasha, you've got right up there. You've crossed that little
Piers,
bar,
if you
haven't
can
you?
indicate one aspect of what I have said that is incorrect, we will have this conversation. But so far, you are throwing out appallingly misconceived allegations, which are baseless.
Do you know
Well,
what?
Piers,
Israel.
you noticed
You
you
know what?
couldn't
You know what?
answer?
Listen, that's all I got for this shit. I can't watch this genocide denier. I can't fucking watch this genocide denier any longer. Oh, all right. Well, listen, you just watched Natasha Hausdorff, an evil cunt who is a professional liar for the genocidal state of Israel. You just watched her just lie and deny and deny and defend and deny and... There's no way that I can soften this blow for you other than the fact that Israel is a Nazi state. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to support the channel financially, please feel free to become a patron on Patreon, become a member on YouTube, buy some Valenti Videos merch right down below, and use the 40% off discount code for the Vantage subscription on Ground News. Other than that, do me one other favor and click that video over there. I promise you, it's a banger.